What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be setting up an African fat-tailed gecko and leopard gecko tub setup. So if you guys watched the video I posted last week, you would know that I'm going to be moving into an apartment soon. So as a result, I'm having to move all of my animals with the exception of my snake into a smaller, more compact, better form-factored tub setup. In the previous video, if you haven't watched already, make sure to go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description and leave a link here as well. I worked on building my Lechianus gecko, crested gecko, and gargoyle gecko tub setup. So if you guys haven't watched that, make sure to go check that out. But in today's video, I'm going to be setting up the tubs, which is my favorite part just about of owning reptiles, getting to set up the enclosures. There really wasn't a lot of building or construction that was needed to modify these tubs to make them beneficial for my animals. They were pretty much ready from the get-go, so I was able to pretty much just jump right into the setup process. Before we get started in the video, make sure to go down into the description and I'll leave a link in the video as well embedded. I'm going to be dropping the link to my Linktree address. If you guys check out my Linktree address, you'll be able to access my Etsy store, my Pinterest account, my art Instagram, and my art portfolio website. So if you guys have the time, make sure to go check that out in the description. It would mean the world to me. Without further delay, guys, let's get right into the video. Alright guys, so it's time to get started. So here's the tub rack system that I decided to go with for my leopard gecko and African fat-tailed gecko. When it comes to housing African fat-tailed gecko and leopard geckos, you want more horizontal or terrestrial space as opposed to vertical or arboreal space, because these guys like to crawl out on the ground. They're not too interested in climbing. It's also equally as important to have an under tank heater as your primary or solo heat source. This is how these animals are able to digest their food and absorb heat. They're not baskers. So as you can see here, I'm just going to be fastening and sticking the heat pads to the bottom left corner of these tubs. It's very important that the surface of the tub is clear from any debris or dust prior to putting the heat pad on there, because otherwise you're going to have a giant pain in the tail getting that thing to stick on there, and that is very irritating. May or may not be speaking from experience. I'll let y'all decide. But as you can see, I'm really emphasizing compressing it in there and really making sure that joker is on there, because it's very important that that stays in contact with the tub at all times. And as you can see here, I didn't do a great job, so I'm just going to go back through there and really push down and drop the hammer on that thing so it does not come off. And because I'm setting up two tubs, I went ahead and bought two heat pads and just skipped applying the other one because it's the same process for both. As you can see here, it slides out of the rack system very fluidly, which I was very happy to see. And the cables from each heat pad come out the back perfectly. So my substrate of choice for pretty much all my animals, including my African fat-tailed gecko and leopard gecko, is this Stay Green coconut core. Very comparable to Eco Earth, but significantly cheaper. It holds humidity very well if necessary, but it also can be very dry and arid, which makes it perfect for both of the species I'm going to be housing in it. Leopard geckos do not require much humidity whatsoever, with the exception of when they're shedding, and African fat-tailed geckos do require a little bit more humidity and also require humidity when they're shedding. So this is your perfect all-around substrate. I've had them on this type of bedding for years with no issue whatsoever, so I'm going to keep it going. It also allows them to dig a little bit, which they're not exactly known for doing, but I have seen my geckos exhibiting a digging behavior, so it's cool to add a substrate that kind of incentivizes that natural process. I'm going to go ahead and add some more bedding to Mocha's tub. As you can see, this bedding appears a lot darker than what I just put in there. That's only because the bag was sealed and it will lose its color once it dries out in probably about 5 hours. So now it's time to actually start setting up the tubs. Right here I've got what I'll be using as my hot hide. I'm just going to set this directly over top of the heat pad. This will also double as a humid hide. As you can see, I just pointed to the heat pad, and I'm just going to put this tub right up on top of it. And I'm going to go ahead and add a water dish as well. While this isn't exactly necessary because you can just spray the tank for hydration, I do like to add one just to be safe. I'm just going to make sure not to put that on top of the heat pad so it won't evaporate so quickly. I'm going to go ahead and show every single cork bark that I'll be using. This is the one that I'll be using in Phoenix's tub. This will be used as the cool hide. I'll be using this tube as a hide in Mocha's tub. This will be the cool hide. And this big square flat piece will be the hot hide in Mocha's tub. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the cool side of Phoenix's tub. And now we got a pretty sweet looking setup, all things considered, for it being a tub. All it's missing is a gecko and a little bit of water in the water dish. So I went ahead and set up Mocha's tub because it's a pretty much identical process, just with a couple different pieces of decor. I'm going to spray her tub down a little more thoroughly because AFTs do require a higher level of humidity than a leopard gecko. But I'm not going to drench it by any means. And I'm going to go ahead and plug in my heat pads. We'll get to this later in regards to temperature control and thermostat usage. And here's my beautiful AFT Mocha. Been chomping down on mealworms lately. Just been a great process. She's been gaining weight. Always had issues with her eating, but once she got on those mealworms, she never looked back. And it's just looking great. You can see how chunky her tail is. So I'm going to gently place her in her tub. And which way you're going to go? To the right. As you can see, she's kind of sticking her tongue out and kind of tasting her environment. This is a very typical behavior of geckos exploring a new habitat. And now it's the old man's turn, Phoenix, my leopard gecko. My first ever reptile pet, and he will be turning 10 years old by the end of this month, which just kind of miraculous. He's lived so long, such a healthy animal, really great pet, and only gets better with age. Just a really great animal. I'm going to go ahead and set him down in there, and he's going to go straight for what's familiar to him, which will be the cave to the left. And if you pay attention, you can kind of see him fidgeting once he gets in there, and that's him digging around. Like I said earlier in the video, I like to put in a substrate that kind of incentivizes natural behavior, and as you can see him scooting right there, that's him digging with his forearms, or front legs, probably the better term, but just kind of digging around, rooting around, and that's always good to see. And it's absolutely crucial to have the appropriate temperatures in these tubs. I'm looking for about a 91 to 93 degree temperature, so I'm going to get my temperature gun here and give it a check. And we're sitting pretty at 92. I've got both of these heat pads connected to a jump start thermostat, which I can link in the description. Alright everybody, that's going to wrap it up for today. And a little update, it's been about a week since I set the tubs up, and Mocha and Phoenix are both doing very well. They're kind of getting acclimated to the new enclosure. You know, they're sticking their tongue out and licking all around the cage just to kind of get their bearings with everything. If you guys know me, you know I like to give my animals ample time after putting them into a new environment to kind of get adjusted. I really want to make sure that I give my animals ample time to get adjusted to their new environment. And I really think that using cage furniture from the previous setup will help them because it'll have that similar scent. But guys, that's all for today. Make sure to be on the lookout for a couple more tub setup videos in the making. Make sure, guys, to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and like I kind of discussed in the previous video and made a community post about, you guys can finally comment on my videos, so feel free to go down into the comment section and drop a comment or question. Hope each and every single one of you has an excellent day, and I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see y'all in the next one.